Alright guys, HyDra here and I hope you're doing that and enjoying your day so far. Rostermania officially back on the menu, one of the most promising teams of last season, confirming a major update to their roster last night, but also Minnesota ROKKR G2 Esports, they are getting in on the action as well. Some controversy about the team that they might be looking to form for the upcoming season. Very much enjoy to your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. We're going to dive straight in, a couple more Halo players looking to make the transition. A couple of guys currently playing for the Cloud9 Halo team are looking to make the move. We know that the OpTic Halo guys have been turning all their heads because Bound, Renegade, Legends are certainly some of the biggest names in the Halo scene and for good reason, but they are far from the only players looking to make the move. So will it be the same story as we have seen in Call of Duty before, when a number of Halo players attempt to make the transition? There are only 2 or 3 or a very small handful that actually make it work each time this sometimes happens. A lot of these guys, of course, will be starting in challenges if they do want to make the move, but I think there's a lot of reason to think that some of these Halo guys could be pretty good. Certainly in a game like Black Ops 7, the movement that it has, some of these other things that feel like it's going to make it a more compelling avenue for these players to come and have success with. Of course, some question what the Cloud9 team is going to do. Right now they have 0 players, it seems. We think that Ravens might get sold to Space Station Gaming. They surely would be an organization that would think about considering some of these Halo guys as a potential prospect. Could Cloud9 feel in the same way? Because as we'll discuss G2 and what ROKKR are doing in the coming minutes, you know, some of these organizations could take more risk when it comes to potentially taking a shot on some guys that could become really talented COD players in the upcoming seasons. So that's still going on, and these are certainly not the only players. But let's talk about what Heretics are cooking up here, right? Because this off-season was pretty interesting for them. There was actually lots of drama, as we know. There were rumors that FaZe wanted to go and get ROKKR, and even if they did, Heretics were like, we ain't gonna let that happen. And to be fair, for good reason, because let's be honest, if they let ROKKR go, their team is compromised entirely. Now, it's still not been ideal for Heretics because Real, they tried to convince him to stay, but Toronto Koi, led by aBeZy really from the Spanish side, they wanted Real, they've wanted him before, and now they went and got him. They offered him some good money. There were rumors that Heretics, in order to pay him the same salary, were going to have to, you know, drop some of the pay of his teammates. Then the organization said, oh, that wasn't really true, but the bottom line is Real left, right? It's not been confirmed yet that he's going to Toronto, but we know that's the case. So Metals to stay, ROKKR and Super to stay. They needed a 4th, right? And there were rumors as to who the 4th was going to be. One of the leading rumors was around Snoopy, right? Potentially from the Boston team, bringing him in, Spanish-speaking, Mexican player, something to at least think about. I never felt that was especially likely to happen just because Snoopy has been the guy on Boston for the last couple of years. He is the man that they've built around, and I think their faith in him has been rewarded to some degree the most recent season. So if they are going to sell him, then they're going to want a lot of money for Snoopy, right? And I think understandably so. And I only think that I'd expect Snoopy to be sold to an org that could pay a lot of money to get him, right? You're talking one of the absolute top teams, maybe a Falcons. So I was never really expecting Heretics to successfully buy Snoopy. Maybe they never wanted him anyway. It was just a theory really that was going around. But there were some rumors that they might have at least thought about it. But that's not the direction they've gone down. Instead, Trakes. Now, this is a player we've talked about for some time, and Argentinian player. He moved over to the States to try and make his dream happen in challenges, and he has been one of the more standout players. Not like a big name, but he's definitely turned heads with his performances in challenges over the last year or so, and he tweets this out, which is, well, Messi signing a contract, of course, Argentinian footballer, and, you know, obviously more than that, but then he tweets this out, and people are like, oh, interesting, right? He signed a contract. Where's he going to go? What's happening here? And then immediately afterwards, CDC Intel tweet out, Argentinian prospect Trakes is expected to sign with the Heretics for the upcoming season. He'd be the first South American to ever compete in the CDL. He represented Stallions for some time as well at the Challengers finals. So here we go again, baby. That is the path to pro. Omits, you know, Rafi, the guys over there, eat your heart out. Stallions to CDL. That is the new career path. And fair play to Heretics, because this news kind of came out of nowhere. like, you know, we were expecting something to happen in Rostermania, but we, you know, the rumor came out and then immediately they confirmed it, which is good because often these rumors happen and then it takes them ages to actually create some sort of announcement video. So they're you know, they're doing the whole Messi thing, right? They're doing the whole Maradona thing. The legacy continues, Messi, Maradona, and now Drake's joining the Heretics. So, you know, I thought this is pretty nice and pretty well done, and it's officially confirmed. So this is pretty exciting, and I think it's a great story as well. First up, this is a fantastic story because this guy bet on himself. If you stay down there and, you know, let's say you live in South America and try and compete with the ping and all this, getting noticed, it becomes more challenging. So he bet on himself hard, made the move, tried to make it work in challenges, did whatever it takes to get noticed, and the opportunity arose. One of the Spanish-speaking players on the Spanish-speaking org left, went to Toronto. They needed a replacement. Pretty sure he's going to be an SMG for the team, so it's going to be Metals and Trakes on the subs. It's going to be ROKKR and Super on the ARs. Of course, you never really know what the meta's going to be like. Could be 3 subs, could be 3 ARs. We'll see how Black Ops 7 transpires. But I think given the opportunities and the money that it might have taken to get someone like Snoopy on board, and if you want to keep the Spanish project going, which I think is wise, if you've got ROKKR and Super still around, you've got Metals, you know what, you're going to bring Lucky back in, you're going to bring Journey back in, you're going to bring Eric Boom back in. I think Eric Boom did pretty well at the end of last season's challenges, but you know, I think it's understandable and probably quite wise for Heretics to take a chance on someone a little bit less proven. I think if you were to bring back, I know that Aroma was talking about it and saying like, you know, could you have just got someone like Eric Boom again? Which is, you know, I get that perspective, but also, you know, we've seen him in the team before. It's understandable that Heretics are going to be like, look, we want to take a chance on this guy, and maybe there's a load of upside here. So I think this is really exciting. Wishing the best for him anyway, as I said in the thumbnail, right? Like, this is historic in the league from that region, and hopefully it does more for players from that region, not just Argentina, but other countries as well, to realize that it's possible to, you know, make these dreams come true. So I think it's pretty exciting, right? Heretics were a really good team last season. Rael was a very crucial member of it, and losing him is certainly a loss. I don't expect this team to be better with Trakes instead of Rael, but I still think they could be pretty competitive. And I think BO7 is a game that should suit, again, the Spanish style of play pretty well. So pretty cool. And Heretics, they do, this is like a reference to Messi signing his first contract on a napkin or whatever. So that's kind of what they're going for here. And what was pretty funny is that Rael then says, verbal agreement worked on someone. Now, obviously he was tweeting this as a bit of a joke, right? But if you guys remember, Rael got into all this beef with Heretics because when he was on his way out the door, Heretics came out and said, oh, well, he agreed verbally that he was going to stay and now he's going. It's so unfair. And Rael was like, well, look, I didn't sign anything. So it was business, baby. Now, maybe his teammates and the organization feels kind of hard done by, so it is what it is, but I think in hindsight it's all kind of entertaining. And Rael was like, oh, well, you know, well done, you managed to convince someone. So he was obviously throwing some shots here towards Heretics, really, which is, and I'm sure Rael still feels some type of way about Heretics coming out publicly to basically, you know, try and discredit him as an individual, maybe. They then deleted that tweet and they did say thanks for his time with the team. But I'm sure Rael feels some sort of way about how his time with Heretics ended. Not necessarily with the players, but maybe with the organization and stuff. But then there was a bit of drama, right? Because obviously in the replies to this, you're going to get some Heretics guys tweeting about it. These tweets have now been deleted, but I got a screenshot here anyway. And Method Sick, the coach of the team, basically said it was in writing, Jose. So, and then there was a couple more replies and he said, I just wasn't being serious, don't know what you're yapping about. But yeah, Method Sick doubled down and was like, well, no, our discussion was in writing. I can't believe that you did this to us or whatever. So clearly Heretics still feel some type of way about Rael leaving, and maybe understandably so, but that is how it is. And Trakes is coming in. That's your Heretics we think for the upcoming season. Is it going to be a good step? We'll see. Now, Ronnie came out of retirement because things are starting to get serious again. Of course, there are some rumors at the top end of the league which are likely to be confirmed soon, but you know, pretty much 6 other teams, we don't really know what they are cooking, although Minnesota ROKKR, G2 Esports, they might now be starting to lock stuff in. So they cleared house, Geo gone, Nero gone, Kenny gone, as we know, Estriel to stay, and we saw the other day Kremp was signing that new contract we talked about. Could he be returning to Cloud9? But you know, it seemed a little bit unlikely that he would be the one that they would choose to build around exactly, if he was certainly their first signing anyway. We talked about some other teams that could be options, including, of course, G2. So Ronnie drops the article that in addition to Estriel, they're looking to bring in Kremp, formerly C9, formerly LA Thieves, to slot in alongside Estriel to form a new look duo. So look, it's one of these moves which is very expected, very predictable maybe. I think this is, like, if you had to predict what ROKKR would do this off-season, this is almost like exactly it. And yeah, maybe it's okay, but I think there's a lot of G2 fans, a lot of ROKKR fans out there that are kind of missing the days where they actually used to be somewhat competitive. They used to make championship Sundays. They used to win events, as they did famously back in Cold War, of course, at that remarkable tournament where they made the 4-0 comeback against Toronto. But over the last couple of years, ROKKR's performance has just been pretty shambolic compared to expectations. And yeah, maybe on paper, whatever they're going to form this season looks fine. But is it really going to set the league alight? Unlikely. So Kremp and Estriel on the subs, that's the rumour that Kremp has even signed that contract and getting ready to go. There was also rumours about whether Looney would stay. Looney's obviously been there as the head coach now for a few years, and, you know, the success hasn't been great, has it, right? And there were rumours that, you know, the team was considering, do we change out Looney? Do we bring in someone else as the head coach? But it does appear that despite exploring other options, they are going to give Looney the keys again, and he's looking for a main AR right now. And rumour has it, there's two main ARs they're looking at. They're looking at Skies, and they're looking at Slasher. So there you go. That's potentially an Estriel Kremp looking for one flex AR, but then with Slasher and Skies as the ARs. And look, there have been plenty of opinions on this type of idea. My opinion is, I think Skies, yeah, he wasn't great really last season at all. Historically, I think he gets a little bit underrated. I'm a bit biased on this because Slasher for a long time, you know, has been one of my favourite players. Slasher slow and all this stuff, right? And so, look, I totally get why people all say Slasher shouldn't be getting another chance. I still think he's got something to give the league. If you look at the start of this season on Ravens, he was actually really good. The team then fell off, right? And obviously he was a part of that and didn't perform well towards the end of the season. And yeah, is he prime Slasher anymore? No, but in terms of looking for a leader AR figure, what options really are there out there anymore? And I still think Slasher, we know that he can form great search and destroy teams and stuff like this. I still feel like he has value to the league, maybe not on a top team, but I still feel like he's definitely a league quality main AR. So, you know, I don't necessarily dislike that. I just feel that many will look at this ROKKR team and say, well, it's a little bit underwhelming in terms of the level of risk that they might consider taking. I know that there was some discussion here on the Reddit, and some of the ROKKR fans were looking at this and saying, oh my god, like, here we go again. Just getting slapped in the face, right? The team gave up on the city, gave up on the fans. And, you know, there's some talk here that these orgs, C9, G2, they're really just here for the EWC payouts. They don't really care. And, you know, maybe it does feel that way, that are they really that invested? Because if they really wanted to try and take some risk here and make something happen, they would probably have made a change from top down. Like, if they were really dissatisfied, ROKKR, with the way that the last couple of seasons went, you know, surely they would have changed out the coaching staff, just wiped house from top to bottom, and they would, well, yeah, I would want to bring in someone who wants to take a bit of risk. Not to say that, you know, look, you look at the roster, Kremp, Estriel, maybe Slasher +1, you get like an exciting Challengers AR or something. You know, maybe it's not terrible, but it's just, it doesn't really fill me with wow, like that they're actually going to try, right? And that's what you could do if, you know, there's a load of Halo players out there that you could go and try and sign, take a bit of risk. Maybe you crash and burn, but like the last couple of years, you've crashed and burned anyway. We're trying to do some decent things. So I think that's why there's lots of discussion on this right now. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. And just one final thing. We know that there will be some rookies that are coming in. Possibly some of the Halo players will be included in that category as well. These are all the Rookie of the Years in COD. Insight never technically was awarded Rookie of the Year, but he made it onto the Team of the Year, and he was the only rookie to do that, so, you know, effectively they chose him. Shotzzy, Insight, Pred, Scrap, couple from Ultra, everyone else from other organizations, Ravens, Heretics, BO7, what's it gonna be? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, is it Twitter? I'm not going to say what's going on. You guys can't hear what's going on behind
I need to get
us?
up?
Dude.
I'm getting up.
Okay, I'm not going to say what just took place. What the fuck?
Okay. That's... I fucking love it.
I'm going to tell you exactly what fucking happened.
I fucking love it.
Hold on.
Thank you, Troy, for coming on. Troy has something to handle off screen.
I fucking
Well, it was
love
fucking complete. Listen, like
Troy has something to handle off screen.
I'm gonna tell you something, right? Look, when somebody loses, that's one thing. For somebody to fucking stand, essentially what's happening is that Paco was apparently shooting a video or something, and what ended up happening is that he goes and says something to fucking Clay. Clay's sitting there doing nothing, looking down at his phone, fucking whatever. And then this dude just comes in and fucking says something smart to fucking Clay. Clay's obviously Clay. He's not gonna fucking and say so. So he fucking says something super uncalled for.
Yeah. Oh, apparently the chat could hear it a little bit.